Let's bring him in now. Angus Reid has one heck of a story. There he is. Whoa, where'd he go? Hey, Angus. Yeah, no kidding. Since the last time I saw this, ladies and gentlemen, was a pro football offensive lineman, Grey Cup champion, now motivational speaker and doing a lot of things. Angus, how are you doing, sir?
I'm doing well. We're doing well out in BC. Life is okay given the craziness that is out there. Everything is pretty good.
You know what? I'd like to start there, as a matter of fact, because we've had everybody on recently from Wally Buono, Dave Babbage, lots of Vancouver area guys, Rashawn Simonize. Can you talk about just the pandemic, how it's affected your life, and where you think this might be going in terms of just society out in the West Coast?
Yeah, well, I think we've been very fortunate in BC to have done a very good job from the get-go. We've had great leadership from Dr. Bonnie Henry, and I guess you're seeing now what a masterful job she's done with a place that has a decent-sized population in British Columbia. And so, goes down and really kind of shut yourself at home and stay away from things as best you can. Now, outside of stores being a little emptier because they're trying to keep a little more space, everything is getting back to normal, and you don't see it as much as maybe elsewhere. And the numbers speak for themselves too. I mean, we're really fortunate. I mean, every day we hear numbers like 13 new cases, 15 new cases in a population our size. That's pretty impressive. But I will say, like coming back from any injury that you would have in your sports career, this can be the most dangerous time because you don't want to start thinking and go back to your old ways of living. So we have to be kind of vigilant to stay diligent to doing the right things so we can keep moving forward and not regress backwards because we think we're all good now. And I think that's my general thoughts on moving forward from this pandemic. Remember, we're never moving back. No one's going back. The world is never going back. We move forward, and we either move forward better or worse. And I think to move forward better, we just have to be more maintain our cautious outlook and our way of doing things. We can't stop living, but we can't live carelessly. I really do.
Angus, you make a lot of sense. You say some great things, and I'm going to get your thoughts on CFL return to play in a moment, and for that matter, the NHL. But your Wikipedia has you listed at 6'1", 305. I'm sure you're still
Needs updating.
I know. I'm sure you're still 6'1", but what are you tipping the Toledo's at now?
I think I look about 6'4" now. I think when you shrink horizontally, you gain vertical. I'm probably about 230. I'm about 75, 80 pounds down from my playing weight. I laugh that I'm lighter now than when I was in high school. And I don't know how many 43-year-olds can say that about their life. So, I worked hard when I was done I made a very conscious, deliberate decision to lose as much weight as I could to get healthy. And I'll tell you right now, Rod, whether you're an offensive lineman or not, professional athletes in almost any sport aren't healthy. They're great at their sport, and they've made their body do what it needs to be, generally at the expense of health. Whether it's make yourself as strong as possible, as fast as possible, have as much endurance as possible, that's always at the expense of something else. And health is about having great balance and having everything in some sort of assembly of equilibrium. And so I was trying to, for the first time in my life, figure out what that even means. All I'd known since I was a teenager was make yourself as big and strong and as explosive as possible at the cost of everything else. And I did that for 20 some odd years of my life. And here I am trying to learn what just feeling good means. And
I tell you, the comments are going crazy. You're going to want to go back and watch this interview. Craig Smith, our director of scouting, writes in, you probably would have crossed paths with Smitty somewhere, two-time Grey Cup champion.
Yeah, I know Craig well.
He says, Angus can play on my team anytime. Of course, now he'd be a fullback. But even the Lions fans are writing in, they wouldn't have recognized you, Angus. And I have to say, I've been watching your career for a very long time. You were part of the Lions during those wars with the Riders, of course, and it was so much fun. I guess I was going to save the memory lane stories for later, but I just got to say this. I was in the Shark Club when you guys came in with the Grey Cup. You were carrying it. Was that 2011 Grey Cup the highlight of your life, by the way? Because it sure looked like it when you won it.
Yeah, I would say, we won in 06 and we won in 11, or I won in 06 and 11, and we lost in 04. So, I was lucky enough to play a long career. Play 13 years is kind of rare. So you never know. You can't go, when you make it, you're always thinking tomorrow could be over. So you don't sit here and go, well, I got 13 years in this league. We got lots of time. So I remember thinking, wow, maybe that was our only shot. You let it slip away. And that was really crushing. And so when we won in 06, it was that kind of, wow, we got it done. We did this. I have a ring. Whatever else happens in my career, this is something I'll have forever. And that was a great team. And I think I was 29 or 30 years old, sort of in the prime of my career, with all my other friends being about the same age. And then 2011 for our team was something I'll never forget, because those that follow the CFL may remember that we started 0-5. We were last place in the whole league. And no team in professional football, not just the CFL, but professional football history, had ever won a championship starting 1-6. And so we did that, and winning it at home makes a memory that is pretty hard to top it. But me personally, I was 34 years old at the very end of my career. I'd come back from a really nasty foot injury that when I shattered my foot in Regina in 09, that I was told I'd never play again. So I had made a comeback. And so everything culminated into that 2011 season being something that, companies or other teams to showcase what's possible, no matter how bad things can look at certain times, and what you can do with a group of people if you're really willing to come together and really care about the mission more than your personal agendas. It was an amazing ride, and to be able to do it at home in our own city with that brand new stadium being built that year was really a lot of variables that came together, making that pretty crazy, pretty special.
That's right. That was one of the greatest Grey Cups I've ever been at. The whole week, the game, it was all fun. We got a lot of comments and questions coming in from Lions fans that are watching. I'm going to try and roll them all into one with my next question, and that is, Angus, the current state of the CFL, the return to play, if you see it happening at all. I'm sure you're following the latest, or the initial offer to the players. And then how you see the Lions coming out of this, whether they play this year or not. Brian wants to know your thought on the state of the Lions, especially coming out of this pandemic. We're at a critical time in the CFL. Where do you see it going from here?
Yeah, I think there's two parts to that question. There's the critical point of the league, and suggests for probably the last 2 or 3 seasons, it's progressively been getting worse here. Before this pandemic hit, there's been their own issues. And that's a really, really layered issue that's happening locally here, where, our city is growing and expanding and becoming and it's visited Vancouver. It's a world city now. It's not the Vancouver of old that was this little port town where I grew up in. This is a global city that has people from all over the world living here that have diverse, and fell here as the Lions is fighting tooth and nail to maintain relevance amongst this diverse population that we have. And we have that monster big brother, the Seattle Seahawks, just down the road that have not just had people come down to them, but they are here themselves with their offices fighting for market share and selling this, really, really high-priced product that's really dressed up nice and has been luring people down more. So we've had an ongoing issue here in Vancouver, treacherous for people that, for some, aren't local from here, didn't grow up watching the Lions, and some football just is a foreign sport. So you're trying to educate them on the sport in general and why they should come out to watch this great entertainment value. So it's a fight that I don't know will ever end. It's a fight worth fighting, though, and it's a fight that the Lions have to keep being creative with, which I think they do a good job. I really think that the Lions do a great job on social media, where the world is turning. They do a great job of entertaining people that way, trying to reach the kids that way, but it's not an easy. We are so diverse and so getting so big here that we have to keep trying to reach people, keep trying to find reasons to not just watch the game, but as you and I know, Rod, this is a gate-driven league. And the real challenge is we need to convince people why they should come down to the stadium, why you should fight 50 minutes of traffic and pay ridiculous amounts for parking and pay a ridiculous amount for a hot dog and a soda to come and watch a game in person. And they need to give you the reason to get through all those excuses and show up. And then when that you say, wow, you're right, I don't get that watching on my TV. I can't get that sitting on my couch, and I can't have a bonding experience with my friends and my children like this anywhere else except getting to the game. And so they need to keep doing that. I mean, you and I know, Rod, football is a great TV sport. It's wonderful, but there's nothing like seeing it in person if done right. And that's the hook where you want to build memories of going to a game. And we have to keep convincing people why you should show up and why you should get past all those excuses, because this by watching it on TV, and they got to sell that, and then they got to deliver when you get people here, and you got to keep fighting that. Now on the league perspective, I think it's the same issue on a larger scale. You know, it's you're fighting all kinds of issues with people right now where money's tight, time is tight, everything is tight, and you're getting pulled in every other direction for your attention and your money and your passion and your support. And so the CFL is not no different than any other product out there. They need to keep fighting to be relevant and keep fighting to earn people's time, their money, their passion, and their support. And I think you have to keep fighting. I don't know what the answer is, but I know you can't support you just because. I think we're way past the mantra that support your own team. You know, support your home team. Why? Because it's your duty. Well, we're not a charity. You don't have to do this. The CFL's job and the BC Lions' job and every team's job is to give fans a reason to support them. And if you haven't found it yet, then you have to keep hammering away, and you have to make sure that they say, no, I got to give this a chance. And when they do show up, you got to give them a reason saying, that was worth it. That was worth the money. That was worth my time. That was worth the energy. And I got to do that again. That's going to be awesome. And you just have to keep going, because the second you stop, as we're seeing right now, people move on. People will just move forward. And so the CFL, I do whatever they got to do to play football this year to make sure that you're reminding people, yeah, this is cool. This is important. I like this, because in today's world, people aren't going to wait around for anything, no matter how much they used to or you think they should. They're going to go on to the next thing because people are busy. Yeah,
you nailed it. I'm actually speechless. Way to go, Angus. I have nothing better to say to that other than I do think the Lions are doing a great job. I do. They just got to keep doing it.
I do.
And I hope that they involve you in it. And, of course, Wally's so recognizable out there. I don't know how they're going to do it, but you guys are guys that I hope that they do. By the way, Angus Reid has usurped Rod's rant for the day, brought to you by Bronco Plumbing and Heating. By the way, mention Rod sent you and save 10% at Bronco Plumbing and Heating, which is another thing. I don't have to rant today. Angus did it. So
I do it every day. It's fine, Rod. I do it, and then my wife gets mad at me, and then we eat breakfast, and then we go about our day. So it's okay.
Well, yeah, perfect. Tell her that you can make a living out of doing that, you're not ranting for a living, but you are doing some pretty cool stuff on the speaking tour, motivational speaking. You're my close friend, Winston Chapman's got great things to say about what you're doing. Yeah. Of course, you visited with Winston. What a great young man. Can you just update your fans or CFL fans what's up with Angus Reid these days?
Sure. Yeah, the speaking has been wonderful, and that happened organically. It was amazing, Rod. As you know, it starts usually with athletes being brought into schools, and you're speaking part of programs, and that was early in my career. And then you get asked to come to a sports banquet and say a few words, and I realized I enjoyed it, and I realized people were saying speak to our sales team or leadership group, and I realized as I was ending my career and transitioning, how much you learn from this great sport of football that does transfer. Now, how to block a 4-3 slide cover 2 defense doesn't mean anything in the world, or how to adapt to a slanting nose guard when the end spike. I mean, who cares, right? I mean, it's irrelevant. But how to come together during adversity, how to communicate properly, how to bond together, a common goal. are universal truths that humans need to always keep working on. And very few sports in the world and very few activities in the world train that better than football, because, I don't know any other sport in the world that will have 50 or 60 people fighting for a common purpose, and everyone has their own little role within that larger mission. And we're responsible and accountable to each other, or else nobody's going to win. And so you learn all about bringing what you can to help the bigger good, the greater good. And you learn about accountability, and you learn about discipline, but really you learn about problem solving. You learn about problem solving on the macro level to a week, and looking at your opponent and saying, look, how are we going to not only attack them, but prevent them from attacking us? And you sit there and you discuss and you plan and you plot, but you learn about problem solving on the micro level. So in between every play, that quick 20-second huddle burst where you look at each other and go, what the hell just happened? How are we going to fix this? And you do that in 15 seconds. So you learn a lot about dropping your ego, dropping your emotions, and solving problems very quickly again and again and again. And that's kind of rare in today's world. People would just rather argue and yell at each other and say, well, this doesn't work. You're an idiot. It's your fault. But nothing gets better. Nothing gets done. And people just say why the world sucks. But in football, you solve problems or you don't succeed. And so you take that out in the real world, and it just comes down to better communication, better understanding, better questions, listening, and actually caring about wanting to improve, not just wanting to blame somebody and have an excuse and move on with life. So my speaking revolves a lot around helping teams become better problem solvers, helping them collaborate better, helping them understand that we're here to get better, and what's good for the team is good for the individual. And that's kind of lost in our system. What's in it for you is helping the team win. You win. That's all it's about. What can you do to help people around you get better? And you will get everything you want in life, instead of looking around going, what am I getting out of this? You look, what can I bring to this? And all these great things. And I love it. I love working with companies and teams and anyone that's trying to improve each other as a whole. So this whole pandemic has kind of railroaded my normal business model, shall we say, the whole conference speaking, the whole group speaking, turns, these large gatherings. So doing a lot more of what we're doing here today. I'm adapting, using technology, still trying to speak as groups. It's not as good. I don't like it as much. I'm an energy guy. I like to move around, I like to eye contact people. That's a little hard to do. It's a little goofy. It's a little strange trying to make eye contact with 50 people on Zoom. I don't know how you do it yet. I'll figure that out. But yeah, just trying to take all the lessons I've learned and help other people with it. That's what I love to do.
Well, enjoy the downtime, because I know when we come out of this, you will be one of the busiest guys. I got to link you up with Lap Police, because he's doing the same thing. And I saw Lapo. We put on an event together. I'm like, you can take this to any boardroom around North America. It's the same thing that you're doing, Angus. And as you speak, I feel like Al Pacino in Any Given Sunday. The inches are all around us. We claw with our fingernails. Right? That's kind of what you're talking about. So, Gus, we got to roll. We're over for time, but right, keep in touch, and good luck with everything. I appreciate catching up.
Stay safe, everyone. Thank you.
You're watching Rod Pedersen On Demand. For more of The Rod Pedersen Show, visit rodpedersen.com or follow Rod Pedersen on social media.